I was honored recently to write the introduction for the 100th anniversary edition of the Velveteen Rabbit. The classic tale has been inspiring children and re-inspiring adults for a century, which is an astounding feat for any written work. The central theme of the book is becoming real, a quest we are all always on, whether we realize it or not. Life is not about doing and having, it's about becoming. Our obsession with doing and having has led us astray. It is time to return to the path that leads to becoming real. It is a state that will not be achieved accidentally. It requires intentionality. Who you become is infinitely more important than what you do or what you have. You were purposefully created and created for a purpose. You are here at this very moment to become the best version of yourself, not some second-rate version of your parents, friends, siblings, colleagues, or even your heroes. Life is a quest to become perfectly yourself. It is through this quest that we become real. Still, our insecurities and ego get in the way. We are intensely attached to feeling accepted, being liked by others, and knowing that we belong. But there is no point being liked by other people for someone you are not, and no point being accepted by others for the person you are pretending to be, and no point feeling that you belong where you do not, in fact, belong. If you do not accept, like, and belong to yourself, no amount of external validation will satisfy the unquenchable desire for selfhood in your soul. Our desire to feel that we belong often leads us away from real. It invokes the great pretending that has firmly gripped our culture. Our desire to be liked and accepted leads us to present ourselves in ways that are inauthentic. This is a recipe for disaster. How many times must I learn this lesson before I accept it? I am never happy when I pretend to be someone I am not. Pretending is life-limiting. It's exhausting. Still, the temptation to pretend is great in every conversation and interaction. We all pretend from time to time, driven by a desire to create or maintain a certain image. We pretend to be more or different than who we actually are. The birth of social media has put this pretending on steroids. There is no end in sight to the tragic results of this aspect of our culture. Our obsession with social media distracts us from the actual living of life and creates all manner of obstacles to becoming real. It does this by making us spectators rather than participants in our own lives. It robs us of life by robbing us of the present moment. We seem more interested in pretending to live interesting lives than we are in actually living interesting lives. Real is the antidote for the age-crippling effects of social media. 100 years ago, Marjorie Williams saw the human condition so clearly that her story has been embraced more with every passing generation. Perhaps that is because our need to become real has grown greater with each year added to the calendar. When people share with me what is happening deep in their souls, they often say things like, "I feel like something is missing. I feel like there must be more to life. I feel like I have so much more to offer." We describe these as feelings, but they are not. Well, they may be feelings, but they are also so much more than that. We describe them as feelings because we lack two things: the courage to claim them as sacred truths and the language to adequately describe them. Worse than lacking the courage to claim these as sacred truths about ourselves, we often treat them as human malfunctions. We think of them as negative experiences. We view them as problems to be solved. We think that something is wrong with us and that we need to be fixed. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you experience these yearnings, you don't need to be fixed, and you are not malfunctioning. When you sense that something is missing, that there must be more to life, or that you have so much more to offer, something is very, very right. You are being summoned to become real. I beg you, listen closely at those times. The message you are receiving is from the very deepest part of you. The most authentic part of you is trying to get your attention. You're being beckoned by your truest self, that part of you that is simply incapable of betraying itself and outright refuses to settle for anything less than the very best version of you. Your soul is trying to get your attention, and ignoring the soul never ends well. Listen, follow, go where it leads you. Don't brush these messages aside. Don't try to avoid them or pretend they don't exist. Be patient and kind with yourself. After all, if we cannot be patient and kind with our very selves, how will we ever muster the character to be patient and kind with others? Anyone or anything that prevents you from becoming real is simply too small for you. There is one question the little rabbit doesn't ask the skin horse that seems ever present in the human consciousness. How do we know when we have become real? You have become real when you realize that you are enough, even if you are alone.